Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Music Theory Mondays. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for joining me again. Today we're going to be doing a very special episode on the augmented scale and a very brief introduction to augmented chords. This topic is very detailed for something that doesn't come up that often, right? Except maybe in the jazz world. There's a lot of little bits and pieces that go into this idea of the augmented scale, augmented chord, a bunch of variations and bringing in the sevens in the chords and all that, voice leading, whole bunch of stuff. But today is just the basics, okay? Now, let's talk about what an augmented chord is. Let's take a major chord. Let's take C major, all right? C major is C, E, G. All right, now to make an augmented chord, all you have to do is take that G and raise it up to a G sharp. All right? It's still a major chord, but now it's been augmented. That fifth has been raised by a half step. It becomes a little unstable, not truly as unstable as maybe the diminished chord, but there's a little bit of uncertainty brought about by that switch, all right? So there you have the augmented chord. Now, what's really cool about the augmented chord is it's a symmetrical chord, similar to the diminished seventh chord, the fully diminished seventh chord. There's only 4 of them because if you take a look at the notes, by symmetrical, what I mean is you have 3 notes in the augmented triad. C to E is a major third, and E to G sharp is also a major third. So those intervals being the same makes this chord symmetrical, and therefore you could only possibly have 4 total in the grand scheme of all chords, right? The spellings would change, but the notes themselves would be recycled, all right? So similar to the diminished chord, the augmented chord is also symmetrical. Okay, so what we're gonna do, now that we've just given you a brief introduction of that augmented chord, is take a look at the augmented scale. All right, now this scale, like the diminished, is very unique. It's actually similar to the whole tone scale and the diminished scale, the augmented scale. Those 3 kind of stand out as being very different. And so I'm going to play the scale, and then I'm going to dissect it for you. All right, here we go. All right, it has a bluesy vibe because there's some minor thirds. It also almost has that harmonic minor pull to it because of the distance between some of the notes. What makes this scale so freaking cool is that it's made up of 2 overlapping augmented chords. All right, we have C, E, and G sharp, and then we also have E flat, G, and B. All right, so you have your first augmented chord and your second augmented chord, and if you play those in order, you get the augmented scale. So cool. Now, that's all I'm going to talk about for this episode. This is, like I said, this is going to be a long, drawn-out thing, many parts to the augmented chord / scale idea, but we've got the basic idea of what the triad is, the basic idea of what the augmented scale is. I should also mention the augmented scale has 6 notes. It's considered a hexatonic scale versus, say, a major scale, which has 7 notes, or a pentatonic scale, which has 5. So just another little bit of information for you. I hope that all made sense, and I hope you can join me in the future when I put out more on the augmented scale. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Bye.